गुड मॉर्निंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। गना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। We're going to talk of expanding India-Brazil ties, but before that, my apologies. I think I left the time as 8:20 in the morning. It was a mistake, and I should have put it at 9. Normally, I do it at 9. In case I don't do it at 9, I definitely will come and tell you that look, today is going to start early or late or whatever it is. But my apologies to everyone. Some of you must have come and wasted your time and being wondering where is this old man gone. Sorry. But with that, let me start expanding India-Brazil ties. My cartoon says it all. Trump has driven Brazil and India to shake hands with his 50% tariffs, right? And Xi Jinping is there on the other hand saying, welcome, boys. That's the issue. And that's the thing which we have to really look at. India and Brazil share the same predicament. They're both developing countries with huge potential. They've been spurned by Trump tariffs. Trump's USA has said, get lost. And they've been wooed by China. Both have tremendous equity and connect with USA from many reasons. India, through its diaspora, Brazil was part of the American continent, and USA felt that was the Latin America was its backyard and Brazil was its anchor in that Latin America. Both have been spurned. Huge nations, Brazil and India, both amongst the top 10 economies of the world. They're on the verge of, I wouldn't say getting into China, but well, something's happening. We'll discuss it. Between India and Brazil, I think there's a new understanding. That's what I felt when our Prime Minister went to Brazil last month as part of the BRICS meeting, followed it by a state visit. In fact, it was that BRICS meeting and the state visit, which prompted Xi Jinping not to go for the BRICS meeting. He felt, look, India is getting a state visit and Xi Jinping is not. Very significant move happened. Probably both the leaders saw the writing on the wall. Both, you'll see as we go along, the level is low and the scope is huge. The scope for expansion of bilateral ties are huge. Both are willing to do so, but how far can they go? It's not going to be an easy affair that you just flip one day and say, India, Brazil, take off. It can't happen. But yet, if both the countries sit together and talk about it, a lot can happen. And that is what I'm going to do. Today is not a magic solution. I'm not giving you a magic bullet. Look, this is the way India must go. But I think if India has ambitions of being a progressive nation, of being one of the powers of the world, which it is, then Brazil has to be an important part of its ecosphere. We've been realizing this for some time, but since it's on the other side of the hemisphere and that too in the southern hemisphere, and a contact has been less and all that. Having said that, let me put it. It is not that just a government now who's started focusing on Brazil. This started somewhere around 2010. Let's be fair to India, not a government. Probably somewhere there we started realizing that it's important that we expand our equation with Brazil. Why do I say so? I mean, very funny. And that's when I also started understanding where India is going. And I must relate this to you. It was in 2011 12 that I had a JCO. I was a general by then, Major General. I had a my personal assistant was PA was a JCO, outstanding person. He came to me and said, "Sir, I've been shortlisted for a position of assistant DA and I have to prepare." So I helped him prepare. I said, "Speak English, get to know about world affairs, yeah, everything." And he was being shortlisted for about 4 or 5 countries in a group. So he went for his interview, and lo and behold, he got selected. But at that point of time, he didn't know where he was going. And they went through another. The fact was, 4 or 5 of them were selected with reserves and all that, which is normal in the government setup. And then he was one day told, "Look, you're going to Brazil," and they prepared for him and went. And I'm in touch with him. His son is in the army, doing great, and very balanced man. And we are in touch in their old age and all that. Very great. And that's when I started learning about Brazil. In fact, much later, someone from India had gone to Brazil. So he was coming back. So my good old friend sent me a bottle of Brazilian wine. He said, "Sir, I'm sending it to you. Don't say no, because I know you don't take anything from anyone." I took it, kept it, had it, great wine. But what I'm trying to say is, I didn't know that Brazil had such good wine. Right? There's a lot we don't know about Brazil. Yet we are all eager to extend our relationship with Brazil. So today it's going to be a mix of the geopolitical and getting to understand what Brazil is all about. Fundamentals. Fundamentals. So let's go. Look, before that, there's another driver which has come out. The negotiation between India and USA, it appears for the trade deal has been postponed. The negotiating team is not coming. They've said later. This is the first reaction after the Prime Minister's Independence speech, where he said he's not going to budge. And the moment that second time he's given that message from a public platform, I think the Americans have realized that the trade deal is what it is. Now, from what I gather, the trade deal was done and dusted. That's why all our leaders were very optimistic about it. It was on Trump's table for his final go. And it didn't go through. We know why it didn't go through. Personal things, Pakistan, Russia, all that. It's not gone through. Now, after yesterday's Trump-Putin deal, it's likely that the 25% tariffs go additional. But I don't think the fundamental 25% will go out. Right? That's the way I look at it, because of this development where they said the trade deal is not off. If the trade deal had come through, then there was chance that it reduces. But having said that, the date for the secondary sanctions have not been taken out, or the secondary tariffs have not been taken out. So the 50% is still on. And we'll know by the end of the month if Trump reverses course or not. If he doesn't reverse course, we should be very clear that we are in with a hostile USA. I'm using the word hostile for the first time. Otherwise, let's see how it goes. But that's where we are. Because then, if the secondary sanctions continue, despite this summit and what Trump has said, that he has not put sanctions on uh, Russia, but he's put sanctions on us. Obviously, it's not Russia. It's not the Ukraine war. It is something else, and that something else is leads to Pakistan. It leads to his Nobel Prize. It leads to many things, and all his failures he'll pin it on India. That's the way he behaves. So we are in for a rough time, and definitely it reinforces the fact that we need to look elsewhere. And one of the places where we have to look elsewhere is, of course, Brazil. Where is Brazil? You have to understand where is Brazil. Have a look at this. Brazil, this is the equator, right? And this Brazil starts just around the equator and goes down to the Tropic of Capricorn. It's in the southern hemisphere. It's a tropical country, much like our country. Tropical. Because we go over the tropics, the Tropic of Cancer, but they are in the Tropic of Capricorn. So if you really look at it, when it's summer here, it's winter there, and when it's winter there, it's summer here. So there's a 180-degree phase shift which is required when you want to understand Brazil. Now, what is Brazil? It's a constitutional republic, much like ours. Okay, it's a federal system of governance. It has its executive, judiciary, legislative. It's like any modern democracy. Brasilia is the capital. It's the only country in South America where Portuguese is the official language. It's the official language, Portuguese. So you have some kind of a Portugal connect because the Portuguese came to India also. Right? It has a huge Japanese diaspora, and most of them are at Sao Paulo. And this is something interesting because can you develop a trilateral between Japan, Brazil, and India? We have to be imaginative because Trump has left nothing to imagination with us. So we have to be imaginative on our own. And how many know that this diamond, yellow diamond, which is there in the Brazil flag, that's why I put this, represents gold. Brazil has huge gold reserves. Okay, so that's the yellow triangle there. So I didn't know. I mean, I knew it. I mean, I had read about it, but it just went out of my mind. But I thought I'll put it across to all of you. It's the biggest country by far in South America. It dwarfs all other countries. Right? The next biggest country is probably Argentina, with which we have open dialogue. And that's one part of the continent, or rather the American continent, which we have not had great relations. I won't say great relations, we have not explored. Long back when I was doing the high command course, I did ask a strategist. He gave India's worldview, covered Europe, EU. We have not spoken of South America. That's an entire continent which you have not touched. They gave a wishy-washy answer at that time. I was not happy then. But now that reality has come that we need to go there. We had good equation with Africa. We had good equation with Europe, North America. But what about South America? So now there's a phase in India's geopolitical outlook which is happening. We have now reached out to Brazil. We've reached out to Argentina in a big manner. We're also reaching out to Chile. So there's a phase shift. And we're going to be against a lot of opposition here. When I say opposition, I wouldn't say opposition, a lot of competition. Right? Because there are people ahead of us who already got in, like China, Russia. They're already there. But the scope is huge. Because India carries trust. This Brazil, right? It's a triangular piece of land. Have a look at it. It's got states like all of us, all that. Now, geographically, I'm now going to introduce Brazil to you. It's the fifth largest country by area in the world, largest in South America, and it borders every South American nation except Chile and Ecuador. Have a look at it. This is Chile, right? This thin piece is Chile. It doesn't have a border, and Ecuador. Barring these two countries, it has borders with everyone. So, to that extent, it dominates the South American continent, right? Its landscape is diverse. It's got the Amazon rainforest, which is the largest rainforest in the country or in the world, rather. And I still remember squad leader Rakesh Sharma when he went up in space. He took a photograph of the Amazon basin and sent it. It's visible from space, right? It's got highlands, plateaus, all that, and it's got tropical wetlands, grasslands, all that. And the highest peak is just about 3,000 meters, less than that, 9,800. It's not even 10,000 feet. So you barely go into high altitude in that place. Very few places where it snows. Very few. It's got a huge coastline of 7,400 kilometers. It's a tropical country with some parts having temperate climate. Right. What are the demographics? It's got a population of 212 crores. Put it this way. It's the seventh most populous country globally. In terms of population, it's something like between Bangladesh and Pakistan. But in terms of geography, it's much more. The population density is just about 25 people per kilometer or square kilometer. Ours is in the region of 700 to 800. So, population wise, it's a sparsely populated country. Highly urbanized. 91% of their people are urbanized. Right? So, open lands and lot must be unexplored. Right? It's got ethnically they have black, white, indigenous people, East Asian people, everyone. Portuguese is their official language. In terms of religion, they're all Catholics. Largely Brazilians are all Catholics. And the age, it's a pretty young country, it's just about 34. Okay? Slowly tending to go into the middle age bracket. It's known for its festivals, samba, all these festivals are there, and it's sport. Who doesn't know about Brazilian soccer? After all, it has won FIFA World Cup 5 times. Right? It's much more than any other country. And we still love to see Brazil playing that samba kind of soccer. Right? Their cuisine is a blend of African and Portuguese. We've never had it. At least I've never had it. So I can't comment on it. Now let's look at the economy. Its currency is the Brazilian real. It's got a GDP of 2.13 trillion. Quite a bit for the population it has. So the standards of living would be very high. And the urbanization it has. Right? It's one of the top 10 largest economies in the world. It's as much as Russia, almost. Or in fact, it might be more than Russia. It's quite industrialized. Makes textiles, shoes, petrochemicals, cement, lumber, iron ore, steel, aircraft. Embraer is from there. The Embraer aircraft is made in Brazil. I mean, that's the funny part. We don't have an aircraft industry. They have vehicles, motor vehicles, electrical equipment, a lot. And for a long time, this was part of the backyard of the American industries. The American industry invested heavily into Brazil. And that's how they've gone. In fact, the American industry when it was vibrant, not anymore. But when it was vibrant, invested heavily into Latin America and South America. Agriculturally, it is surplus. It's a major exporter of sugarcane, latex, coffee. Latex is rubber, coffee, cocoa beans, soya beans, rice, tropical fruits, and meat products. And it it exports soya beans to China, right? It's one of the leading exporters of agricultural goods, mineral resources, manufactured products. It's got tremendous capacity. We have to understand that. Look, let's now get to India and Brazil. Important. Recently, like I said, our relations started going up, but they were there. Now, with our prime minister going, this is the first time a prime minister went there in 57 years. 57 years back, our prime minister then went. Things have changed. Things have changed drastically. We went as part of a state visit, signed a strategic partnership with them, and many things are now flowing. Why? BRICS Connect. Trump has driven both of us together, and things like that. The potential is there, but we need to convert it into reality. And if you see the way things are going, I mean, one has to understand why has Trump put 50% tariff on Brazil. 25% is what he put in his own way, like very much like India. On Brazil, he put another 25% because the previous president, Bolsonaro, he's been put under house arrest. Today only he's been released from house arrest to go for a medical checkup. Because there's a judicial process going on. And the judge refused, the Supreme Court judge refused to bend to Trump's dictates. And so he sanctioned that judge, that Supreme Court judge, or the Chief Justice, who said, I'm not going to USA, I don't have anything to do with USA, I'll be happy if you sanction me, but I'm not going to budge. Because they're following their own law. He feels that, Bolsonaro, being his pal, friend, should be saved, not be given any this thing. So virtually, Trump has interfered in Brazil's internal affair. And this 25% is on top of that. As a result, the people of Brazil today think differently. But this is a conflict they'll have. Because a lot of connect with Brazil is with USA. And what Trump has done, he's virtually pushed Brazil out of the American ecosphere. Right? And virtually, I mean, the reason for this additional 25% tariff, as wacky it is on Brazil, is equally wacky on us. When America itself was trading with USA, or rather Russia, America itself was trading with Russia, and as Putin had said, it had grown by 20% ever since Trump came. He's increased his trade with Russia, but he wants tariff on us because we get oil for him. That's his leverage. What a stupid logic. So, what a stupid logic on Brazil. So, if this is the stupid logic on both our countries, isn't it time to cooperate? Okay. What are the highlights of our relationship so far? As far as the political relations are concerned, right? We have a common global vision, democratic values, commitment to economic growth and social inclusion. We have actually similar thing, like, right? The state visit of our Prime Minister last month reaffirms many of these. We have a bilateral trade of about 12 billion. Our exports include petroleum products and agrochemicals, pharmaceuticals, and engineering products. Their exports are oil, soya, gold, and raw sugar. So we are complementary to a large extent. The target which we have set is $20 billion in the next 5 years. But can you increase it is the question now with the changed set of circumstances. There are a lot of things you can give to Brazil and a lot you can take. The scope is huge. My way, as I go, as we keep examining, my way of looking at it is France, we have established very good ties and we have a very clear understanding where we are going. Israel also. And Israel has the capacity to, and Israel will give you what? Technology. The trade isn't so. And if Israel stops trade with India, Israel loses. So it will not. Russia, we have a good equation. So I see the cornerstones of our growth will hereafter. The big countries should be France, Russia, Brazil, and Japan if we play our cards right. Will they completely offset USA? They might not. We'll still have an equation with USA, notwithstanding the 25%. Remember, 25% is only for half of the trade which we do on goods, not on digital, not on other things. So we still have an equation with USA. USA is it's not gone out. But the question when we talk of all this is, can you offset this 25% tariff? I'm now talking of 25%, it might be 50%. Can you offset this tariffs with expanded trade with others? If you can do that, you're through. Okay. And then, of course, you have strategic cooperation, and for which they've said 5 priority pillars. Defense security is one pillar. Food and nutritional security is the second pillar of cooperation. Energy transition and climate change is the third pillar of thing. Digital transformation and emerging technologies. Industrial partnerships and strategic areas. If we go by this, which is, I think, a very good base to start with, you can achieve a hell of a lot. And then you have the BRICS platform. Now, the BRICS platform, it's still dominated by China, but let's look at it a bit realistically and pragmatically as to how to use the BRICS platform. After all, the BRICS platform is no more only about China. It's got Russia, it's got Brazil, it's got South Africa, besides India and China, and others who have entered BRICS. There are 10 countries. So, can we do something there? And I mean, options open out when you go to a big country like Brazil. We have started doing joint military exercises and high-level delegation exchanges, which have started. Exercises might be small, right? Our security concerns and their security concerns are different. Way back in 2012-13, I remembered having an exchange with their artillery chief. And their thinking was completely different from ours. Quite logical, because they were looking at their threat perceptions. We were looking at our threat perceptions. Well, we need to understand this more. You need to connect the defense industries. And that they have come. They've said Brazil is one of the countries which said, give us BrahMos, give us Akash, and more. So that is something which we have to increase. Defense connect. Whether you like it or not, you see, so far, a country like Brazil was interested in going to USA and buying and things like that. Largely USA. Some might think they might go to China, but that will come to China. So now that will change, because India gives Brazil better options. And Brazil is no more bound with USA. And Brazil is very smart. It knows how Chinese weapons function. So there's an opening there. Okay, energy and climate change. Cooperation is growing. We have a lot to give them. We have a lot to take from them. Digital transformation is something which we can expand. Your UPI, data protection, 5G, AI, supercomputing. Use use USA only in this leverage. After all, digitally USA and India are still connected. It's transactional. So let's be transactional. Okay. Agriculture, agricultural research. Then, of course, combating terrorism, crime, all these things, IPR, space, people to people contact, increase flights. Because I remember 8, 9 years back when a group wanted to go to Brazil, you have to go from here to somewhere, somewhere to USA, USA to Brazil. Can you do direct from here to somewhere and on to Brazil? That people to people connect, if it gets moving, starts multiplying. You don't have to go through USA always. Today you have to. I don't know if new flights have started. Maybe from Europe you can go to Brazil. So you go to France and France to Brazil. There are flights. But can Indian carriers operate on that route? That's the question. Now let's look at the Chinese angle. Why I have brought this? There's a Chinese factory which has been opened. Great Wall Motors has opened a factory in Brazil. The Chinese are already moving into Brazil. In fact, they moved into Brazil. They're not moving in, they moved in long back. Just to put things in perspective politically, Lula, who's the president now, is a left winger. Before him was Bolsonaro, but before Bolsonaro was this lady called Dilma Rousseff. Dilma Rousseff was a complete, almost a communist. Okay. And she was, put charge for corruption and a lot of things and inefficiency. She brought the Brazil economy to its knees and all that. And she was, she was taken out. Although she lost the election to Bolsonaro, who was a right winger, who did even worse. And now Lula has come. Lula was Dilma Rousseff's, what shall I say, mentor. He's come to, stabilize the economy and the country. And where is Dilma Rousseff? Dilma Rousseff is in China with the BRICS Bank or some financial institution. She's continuing with the whole story. So there are undercurrents we have to understand, right? But there are opportunities also. Competition to hai. So the competition from China will be tough, but the scope is huge. Let's talk of China. China is Brazil's largest trading partner. They have a trade of $160 billion. Ours is not even 12 billion at this point of time. As I said, the scope is huge. Interestingly, Brazil has a trade surplus of $51 billion with China. Brazil is one of the countries which has a trade surplus with China. So here is the scope. Because China is food deficient. So agricultural products, commodities in China all go from Brazil. Raw materials go from Brazil. Lot of soybeans go from Brazil. American soybeans was what China was dependent on. China is not taking those part of the tariff thing. So they switched to Brazil. And without soybeans, China can't survive because those soybeans are eaten by pigs whom they eat. So the Chinese need Brazil. And China, of course, will give them manufactured goods. Semiconductors, all the telephones, vehicles, medicines. Can we cut into it? I think the scope is huge. China has invested heavily in Brazil. But, heavily in Brazil in high-tech sectors, renewable energy, EAO, all that, as ending, agriculture. And for a lot of Chinese foreign investment, Brazil is a destination. And again, that's the left connect. Okay. Uh, Not the present government, the previous governments. And they have a very healthy political relationship. Dilma Rousseff, Lula, and China. They're looking at multipolar world, yeah, interest in global south and all, but Brazil doesn't have an outward looking thing that they don't have that great connect which India has with South Africa. Brazil's influence is limited to South America. As much as China sees BRICS as a important platform for going global and Sino-centric world order, Brazil sees BRICS as a platform to not to expand its own influence but to develop itself. And interestingly, in BRICS, Brazil and India share almost the same standpoint. They don't want de-dollarization. They don't want to go into UN. They don't want to go into BRICS currency. Brazil and India still want to be on one end. In fact, it's very surprising. It's very surprising that America has spurned Brazil and China, Brazil and India, which are its friends. And he is embracing Russia and China, with whom they have to compete. In this BRICS format, it's Brazil and India which actually work for the Western hemisphere or the Western thought process against the Sino-centric world order or the Russia-China axis. And yet, Trump has done what he has done. I think it's a grave mistake. Interesting, very interesting. Brazil has not got into the BRI. They said, you invest in all, but we are not part of the BRI. So Brazil at some level has maintained a distance with China. It said, okay, you can invest, all that, you do what you want. But limit hai. We have a surplus with you. We will do what we want. We are part of the left-leaning thinking and all that, fine. But no BRI, no de-dollarization. And yet, USA, I don't understand the US strategic thinking. Two of the top 10 economies in the world, India and Brazil, who lean from historically more towards the West than China, have been spurned by USA. Don't you think it's idiocy? I think so. Okay, Brazil balances the West and the Chinese, and and Brazil also has an issue. They don't want to be reliant on China to consume. Tomorrow, if China puts tariffs on them, they have a problem. Okay, and of course, the Chinese connect gives them environmental problems because whatever China does is anti-environment. And there's some public opinion which is against China in Brazil. So the people are not for China in Brazil. And this is our opportunity. The people in China don't want to be dependent on China for their exports. They say diversify. Because tomorrow if China does something, their economy will start collapsing. They don't want China to control their country. But they have allowed it. That's a different story. And I've given you that connect. And what I see is the President Lula is maintaining a balance. And his outreach to our Prime Minister is huge. I mean, I think it's huge. Especially the fact that he said, let's have a BRICS meeting. virtual. He's sending, I think, his vice president here to India to talk and increase our trade, everything. And for us to increase our trade with Brazil is also good because it's not controversial. It doesn't go against American principles, nothing. Fine. There are no strategic concerns with dealing with Brazil. There are no strategic friction in this. And the scope is huge. So, overall, I think you have seen where we are. And this is what all of you wanted. If you like this video, please press the like button and subscribe to Gunner Shot. Also join Gunner Shot as members. And also recommend this video to all your friends. Right? And thank you, those of you who joined in today to listen on. So I've given Japan, I've touched upon Brazil. So let us see how things unfold and we'll take it forward. Of course, a short time I'm going to have a word with John Helmer on Russia. And whatever the Russian view of this deal, and I'll put it out in the evening. And in the evening, I'm going to talk about what is the Chinese view about this deal. People have started writing, which I told you yesterday. So evening, 8 o'clock, when we talk, or maybe 9 o'clock, I'll take a call on it. I will talk about the Chinese view about Trump-Putin deal and where it goes. There are very interesting formulations coming out there. Okay. With this, thank you, and I'll take some questions now. Yeah. Ashwin says, what is your opinion about US sending its US Barbara ship to Sri Lanka? Is it to check on? Yeah, it's on to monitor its missile test. Because this missile test has its own value. Because for the first time, your NOTAM goes to 5,000 kilometers. If it's to 5,000 kilometers, that means you are testing a ICBM. And not that we don't have the capacity, we always had the capacity to fire a ICBM. Because you're going to space, you're going to moon, you're going to Mars. So you always had this capacity. But this test is something. So they will monitor us. Even China will be monitoring us. Even Pakistan will be monitoring us. We're getting reports of China massively increasing its nuclear warhead to compete with USA and Russia. We also heard that Pakistan is creating a rocket force. How should we? At this point of time, don't worry. The Chinese plan to increase its warheads to about 500-600 is on the horizon. They're somewhere there. Up to 1,000 by 2030-40 is there. Let them do. In fact, as they keep increasing their warheads, their economy will keep going down. So that's part of their story. We'll see. We'll keep monitoring it. Pakistan creating a rocket force, don't worry. There's more. We have to analyze it more. This is just an announcement. I don't, without any additional capability, it must be part of their, reflexive action after Op Sindoor. Relax. Hi, Hans. Thanks a lot. Shruti also, namaskar. Lofi also, good morning. Yeah. Good morning with a beautiful shirt. Thanks a lot. Once in a while, I do wear these shirts. Brazil is perhaps the second largest power in Western Hemisphere. How do you assess its potential to become a competitor to American hegemony in the Western Hemisphere? The SWOT. I don't think. That's what I've tried to put across. Brazil doesn't have that capability overall. And its manpower is good. After US population is some 3.1 to 3.4 million. This is 2/3 the civil American population, huge area, everything. But it has its own issues. Okay. It has its own issues. It's got power in the Western Hemisphere. I wouldn't say Western Hemisphere. I would say rather in the American continent. But it is limited. Okay. It in case it has to go further, it has to get away from America. It has to get away from China also to form its own independent strategic thinking. That worldview from Brazil has not come somewhere, anywhere. And Brazil has not gone out of its country to establish its presence elsewhere. So there are issues. Uh, it's not so easy. Today is virtually some kind of a SWOT analysis on that only. Okay. Bata family says Jai Bharat, Vijay Raghavan, Jai Shri Ram, thanks a lot. Ladybird Haru says good morning to you, and Neil also Jai Hind. Ethanol blending, SDGs, environmental, ecologic, maritime, and all small planes. Brazil can be an important player. Yes, it is because ethanol. Brazil has gone completely on ethanol, right? Again, it's a matter of our internal thing. How much can you put into ethanol? How much, you know, how much can you grow for ethanol is the bigger issue. They use cane-based ethanol a lot. Can we use that? These are issues. These are country-specific issues. Yeah, Sylvia says good morning. Thanks a lot, Sylvia. And Siddharth also good morning. And yeah, even the basic 25% tariff is high. Look, we have entered. Let's not. The point I keep making. You have entered a new strategic phase of our country, and let's handle that uh, with both eyes open. Yeah, Embraer aircraft in high demand, shares have appreciated 100% in the past year. I agree with you. See, this is where India has faltered. We didn't have that strategic thinking of having an aircraft industry in India. If you had an aircraft industry in India, I'm sure with the kind of initiatives we have in India, we would be producing jet engines by now. Main advantage Brazil has is an aero industry. If we collaborate with it, both. I don't agree with you completely. Embraer is not a. It might be a Brazilian company, but the technology comes from elsewhere. India, Brazil, Russia need to collaborate to ensure a multipolar world. Completely agree with you. There's no doubt only. I would add Japan, but India, Brazil, Japan can collaborate. India, Russia, Japan can't collaborate because Japan and Russia have problems. But India, Brazil, Japan. Yeah, for global trade, Brazil, South Africa, and India create a good transshipment way. If we have to go to, yeah, I agree with you. I That's why I said the scope is huge. The ideas which are just coming out of you itself suggest so. Japanese Brazilians are discriminated against in Japan. That's part of the deal. Uh, Sanction can hold us back for 2 3 years, but can never stop us from growing. There's 50% reciprocal tariffs on import from you. We'll see how it goes, Sanjay. Don't be so much in a hurry. Things are evolving. You know, between nations, you can't do cutty overnight. And we might not like Trump. You might not like his administration for what it's doing. But there's a connect beyond Trump into USA. Don't overlook that. You could be transactional with them. You must be. But somewhere down the line, the strategic relationship, in my view, will revive. It will revive because that's the way things are. Your diaspora is huge. And Trump is only there for 2 3 years. After that, he'll go. And if the way he continues at this midterm polls, he'll go. And after that is a lame duck president for the next 2 3 years. So things will change. Be patient. One has to be patient in this business. There are a large number of Indian diaspora in Suriname and Guyana. I agree with you. Brazil has a large Lebanese and West Asian diaspora. I met some Lebanese Brazilian people in London recently. They seem to have interest in Asian affairs. I agree. Brazil has avoided the cocaine economy trap. Yes, that's also there. Uh, okay. And Brazil also has a growing evangelical Protestant movement. Yeah, these people tend to be more pro-US and pro-Israel compared to Catholic Brazilian people. That's part of their country. That country is evolving. They will have their problem, right? Yeah. If BRICS becomes a military alliance, it would pose a serious problem to American hegemony. Yeah, just think, VS. Can BRICS be a military alliance? Can you and China be a military ally? So let's not come to some vague things which you just imagine out of the hat. India and China can never be an ally. So why talk of it? Is there a reality in a military alliance between India and South Africa? It can't be. In the 80s, Bharat missed the chance of integrating alternate technologies from Brazil, ethanol. Yeah, I agree with you, Santosh. But well, like you might have missed, I agree with you, but you can't now keep looking back. You have to look ahead. Ironically, Brazil has a trade deficit with US. They import more from US than export. That's the funny thing. This 50% on tariff on Brazil has got no value because they give less. And if they put tariffs on US will suffer. वो वो ट्रम्प में कोई लॉजिक नहीं है. Seems as though Putin is destroying North Atlantic alliances and forcing global South to integrate tighter. I don't agree with you. There are various angles to this. That's why I said wait till I analyze China. Okay. Kang Pang Pao noodles. Oh, very nice. That's why I put it on. Yeah. Yeah. France, Israel, Brazil, India, Japan, Russia for a bit creates a network of strong. Yeah. This is what I. And India has to drive this. India has. Okay. Will Pakistan be able to capitalize on relatively low tariffs? What can Pakistan do? They can't do anything. Don't worry. Nigeria, Angola, South Africa. I know that there's nothing new you're saying. Yeah, idiotic tariffs on Brazil and India, threats to EU. Should we look at non-Anglo-Saxons, play to strength, focus, South Africa, South America, Africa, individual nations, UK? Yeah, that's the way to go forward. There's no doubt. And it'll happen. You'll see this unrolling out. It's logical, isn't it? So, surprised to hear of Embraer, a native Brazilian aerospace company, on thoughts on sharing No, it is a more of an assembly thing which has got, it's something like the Maruti model, right? Embraer is, not completely Brazilian. The technology comes from outside. China is increasing nuclear warheads by 100 in a year. It's not 100 in a year. They want to go to 1,000. Okay. They want to go to 1,000. I am happy with them going because they can't use it, one. And that's the first part of the story. The second part of the story is, they're spending a lot of money on their military. They're spending a lot of money on their infrastructure, which means their economy will keep going down. And their demography is not increasing. So what China is doing is going the wrong path. It's the CCP which is looking at power. It's the power dynamics. It's not China being progressing. Don't worry. Yeah. Good morning, Palani. Nice that you joined in. Okay. If Lula says, oh la la, I will move towards India. I like it. We had a relationship with South America from Ramayan times. Yeah, but unfortunately, that's in Ramayan times. Let's do it now. Yeah. We can't keep going saying we had a relationship when Rama was there and he built a bridge from here to there. All that is all fine. Let's do something now. Why has Brazil India significant collaboration not happened? I can't answer that. Our worldview was not there. Now we have and we are forced into it. Necessity is the mother of invention. We'll do it. Yeah, trade amongst BRICS economies itself is very low. What, according to you, is the reason and what further can be done? Look, BRICS is not a great platform for many reasons. India and China, the two biggest economies, are at loggerheads with each other. They don't want to trade beyond what it is. Okay, we don't want to expand trade with America, with China, isn't it? Though many people are giving some cockeyed answers, cockeyed reasons why we should do more trade with China. It won't work, and we are not good at it. So if that is not the case, then Russia has got other conflicts, and Brazil, like I said, they're not on the same line. Everyone is on not the same line. So the platform for trade is less. The distances are more. But as this platform widens and more people come into this basket, the trade will improve. And most importantly, China, USA is driving this BRICS closer. So wait, things will take time. Yeah, Paramount Airways, a Coimbatore-based airline in early 2000, was operating Embraer aircraft right? Still used extensively, yes. Yeah, Paramount, I remember, traveled by it. It collapsed. What about China giving? We'll talk of that later. Don't worry. USA has made it clear that it does not want to lead anymore. Will it Russia, China leading? I don't think you're right, Ashish. You people, many of you are looking at it as if it's a black and white world that इसने ये बोल दिया तो वो करेगा, that happens. It doesn't happen that way. China is not very happy in many respects about this Trump Putin meet. It's not a joke, whatever has happened. It might have ramifications for us. It has ramifications for China also. That's why I said wait till evening. It's amazing you're providing us information after information and facts. We need more people like you in every Indian language. Aditya, I want to do it. I've in fact asked, Sri IRG, let's speak in Telugu, which I'm very okay. I'm okay to do in Tamil also. I'm okay to do in Hindi. That's why I do 2 programs in Hindi. I want to slowly expand one day in Tamil and one day in Telugu. These are languages which I know. But more interestingly, what I'm trying to tell you, Aditya, is I put out old videos. Why do I put out old videos? I recycle them. I take out the question answers and recycle them. Why do it? I do it. Firstly, I ensure that those recycled videos are less than 1 hour. Right? They're less than 1 hour. If they're less than 1 hour, the YouTube has a way to dub them, convert them into various languages. Hindi is one of the languages. It goes into Hindi and English at this point of time are their Indian languages. Of course, in many other about 10 languages, you can be dubbed. And you can see the dubbed version. So if you can't access the live thing and you can't understand the live thing in English, you can see it in the dubbed version when I put the video out later, which I'm doing almost every day. Like today, I put out about China. The advantage is I do hope people who don't understand English go into the dubbing language and see it. That's the thing. What are the fields we can complement each other? I've explained to you. A whole lot of fields are there which we can complement each other. That's one of the things I've explained. Will India do reforms necessary for a nimble private sector that's able to move as swiftly as our strategic objectives need them to? $1 million question. Can our Prime Minister pull it off? It's nice to say that I'll do this, I'll do that. Can he pull it off? Let's see. I hope he does. Wonderful morning session. If you break down trade analysis with dynamic changes in geopolitics, this backtesting still hold place. How can? Yeah, it will work. There's no doubt. It will work. You have no choice. Right? You have to regress. You do a regression analysis of everything, you'll get to the right thing. Unfortunately, in geopolitics, it's very difficult to do regression analysis. Very few people who are capable of doing it. Yeah. Your video on Sri Lanka, Maldives, and Indian Navy is long awaited. Also, sir, can we get information about weapons on Andaman Nicobar and Yeah, we can look. My problem is that events are overtaking me. I can only do 2 videos in a day. I mean, that also is very, I'm stretching myself. Events are overtaking me. That's my problem. I did one on Maldives, so I have to do on Sri Lanka, and I did one on Indian Ocean. I'll talk. Okay, let me see how I can do it. It's not a matter of I can't do it. I mean, I have the material, I have the source material, I have the knowledge, right? But unfortunately, time. Yeah, Yogesh says, Namaskar to all viewers. Click the like button, subscribe. Yes, please do so. Thanks a lot. And Arthur says, Good morning. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah, now not interested. So if you're not interested, why you're bothering about whether China or India on the right path or wrong path? We are also not interested in your view. Yeah, I was talking from the point of view of America. They can be never 100% sure that India and China will never come together once the border issue is resolved. This is possible in American eyes, but this border issue is not going to get resolved. That's the problem. I also feel that we must resolve it. If you go into details, you need a lot of political equity to resolve it. Does the does this government have? No. The previous government probably had Modi 1.0 2 had 2.0 also had. So they had a majority, a brute majority with which they could push through. They could barely push through Article 370 scrapping. To do a deal with China where you have to give and take, Indians will be happy to take, not give. If that give is gone wrong in the Indian perception, the bye bye government, bye bye BJP for the next 100 years, right? So there are high stakes. Same thing for China. If that border deal doesn't go through well for China, bye bye CCP. The stakes are very high. Any possible session on Atmanirbhar Bharat beyond defense products, a true introspective of what we have achieved? Look, I can do. Let me see how I can do. I am not getting people to do it. I'm not. I don't want to attempt everything, but let me see how we can do it. Well, like I said, events are overtaking whatever I want to do. Was expecting that answer. I agree with you. Yeah, ask how Russia saw China stealing their technology and their territory and their approach towards China from a friend or a look. There are mixed things. There is a lot of people in China who feel Russia has taken a lot of areas, Trans Manchuria, Trans Amur. They still have claims on Vladivostok. It's the other way around that Russia has taken up Chinese territory. Okay. Other technology, as far as Russia is concerned, Russia still sees China as an enemy deep down. That's what came out in a few leaked files 2 months back. So all is not hunky dory between Russia and China. Because everything is not hunky dory between Russia and China, China views this meat through other glasses. Evening. We'll talk of it in the evening. Yeah, what drives you to do this nationalist podcast day in and day out so intensely? Okay, now that you asked, let me answer. What drives me to do all this? Look, I was writing. I was writing almost one or two articles, one odd article in a day or two earlier, right? And geopolitics, defense, technology was my always my favorite things. Once you retired, my good luck that I served in very great appointments, when I say great appointments, good appointments, which gave me a lot of knowledge. I was forced to learn technology. I was forced to learn about counterinsurgency in India. Went abroad, learned. So, what do you do with all this technology? Then later on, after retirement, got into IIT, started teaching kids. And then I said, there's a requirement for us to expand our thinking in India. India is growing, and you need people to do thinking. And you need people who are working and thinking will do what they want. But how do our people know geopolitics? There's a need to democratize geopolitics. How do you do that? It's democratizing of geopolitics and defense and strategic affairs and knowledge about India. So I started writing. Then I got into a problem that everyone was accepting, not accepting my articles. I had to run around and all that. So then I said, forget it. Let me start my own blog. I started my own blog. Then people started asking me to come and appear on their shows. When my son said, why are you going and appearing in someone else's show? Start your own channel. And I started. And things became one leading to the other. And also, let me give you, since you're a senior veteran, I'm also a very senior veteran. I must tell you, what do you do in your old age? Especially when you're reasonably healthy. I still go for a 5 kilometer walk without a problem, and I drive my own car. I don't hire a driver. Wherever I go, I drive. Okay, I want to be physically fit, and I am physically fit, mentally fit. And what do you do the whole day? Your children are not with you, so what do you do? So you do this. You study. You read. And when you read, you might as well share knowledge. What's the use of knowledge in your head? You might as well share knowledge, whatever it is. Okay. Oh, this is it. I did a test run of your dubbed version videos, not much impact without your voice. I agree with you. Any dubbed version won't be great, but at least it conveys the fundamentals to people. That's the thing. That's why I do all this. And well, and it also gives me a little motivation because the money which I get out of this, apart from going, I mean, the money which I get out of YouTube, I must share with you. It serves three purposes. One, to pay the taxes to the government of India. Okay, so I contribute to the economy. Two, it helps me educate children who can't educate themselves. And three, it keeps me, I can buy good equipment and use it, because if I don't have good equipment, I can't speak to you. So this is my running expenditure. That's it. These are the three. It's not so great that, and in any case, I don't need this money. Let me be very honest. I don't need the money I get from YouTube. So it's good fun. That's it. So my expenditures, I have to pay for StreamYard annual thing. Then I have to subscribe to a lot of magazines behind paywalls these days. So all that goes from what I earn from YouTube. That's why I said, please join. If you join, I've decided that all membership money and all goes to those girls who need education. And I'm hoping that by end of this year, I'll expand. If I get more money, I expand the number of kids whom I can educate. That's it. Okay. Yeah. Your presentations are worthy. How can we convey this among future generations, like in schools? Yeah, just ask them to see. Or I can even come and talk in schools, and so that they get hooked onto all these, which I've tried. I have no problem. It can be remote also. I do talk to army establishments on these subjects remote. I keep in touch with the army that way. Okay, so that's where we are. Yeah, Sivakumar, good morning. I don't know whether you joined late or not, but thanks for joining in. And Arjuna Watch also, Jai Hind Ki Sena. And that's how it is. And Kiran MV also, thanks a lot for joining in. Good morning, and fellow veterans, fellow viewers. Right. That's how it is for the morning. Thanks a lot for joining in. Join in the evening at 8 o'clock. We'll see the Chinese angle to this whole story. How does China look at Putin Trump thing? And it's not apparent, but it's there. Till then, have a great day and Jai Hind.